Welcome to the CU Sports Magazine. I'm Rob Moody, filling in this week for Todd Geary.
And I'm Andrew Rivera, filling in for no one. The UCLA coaching connection remained intact this week when Coach Rick Neuheisel was named quarterbacks and receivers coach for the CU football team. Neuheisel comes to the Buffs via Westwood, where he had a similar job with the Bruins. He also replaces another Bruin, Carl Durrell, who has since moved on to Arizona State. This, incidentally, is the job that Sonny Detmer, Coy's dad, had interviewed for. Coach Mack reportedly wanted someone with a hard-hitting attitude, but since Tanya Harding was not available for the job, Neuheisel got the post. He is expected to join the Buffs later this month. I love that woman, Rob.
Tanya Harding.
She's a great woman.
The Colorado Buffaloes traveled to Norman, Oklahoma last weekend to take on Billy Tubbs and the Oklahoma Sooners. Let's go out to Norman and take a look at some first-half highlights. Oklahoma started out with a 5-0 lead thanks to Calvin Curry, who had a three-pointer and snagged an offensive rebound, but then Oklahoma would chill out as this shot hits nothing but the rim and is rebounded by Mark Dean, who returned to the Colorado lineup after being sidelined with an injury. And then Sandy Golgart in the paint. Sandy showing some offense. Then at the other end of the floor, good inbounds pass by Mark Dean. So how does Dean make up for the bad pass? By traveling at the other end of the floor. And what's this? A technical foul, too. Good start for Dean. Ooh, and what's this? Donnie Boyce believes Tanya Harding should skate in the Olympics, but Oklahoma's Ken Conley says she shouldn't. Joe Harrington doesn't think Tanya should skate either. What does the ref think? No, Tanya should be allowed to skate. A lot of fouls in the first half, but when they did decide to play basketball, Ted Allen from the outside gets the friendly bounce. Here, Ted Allen decides to try out for the Olympic hockey team. Nice check, Ted, and what do you know? Another foul. And then another good inbounds pass by Colorado. This time Fred Edmonds throws it away, but Oklahoma still can't capitalize. Nice layups, guys. Colorado's passing woes continued. Sandy Golgart passing to Oklahoma. Then Donnie Boyce gets a nice rebound. A 4-on-1 develops for Colorado, but Boyce is going to pass it to the guy sitting there in the second row. And guess who was in attendance to see Colorado and the Sooners? Troy Aikman. I wonder if he can play point guard. Colorado had passing problems, so now Kirk Williams is having catching problems. And speaking of catching, here's Donnie Boyce's impersonation of Troy Aikman. Incomplete. Oklahoma suddenly exploded as Calvin Curry hits a three from outside the stadium. And on the next trip down the floor, yep, that's another three-pointer by Curry. Any good signs for Colorado in the first half? Not really. Score at halftime was Oklahoma 47 and Colorado 35. Colorado stayed with Oklahoma as they did with Missouri. They're always lurking there, ready to jump onto the bandwagon and make a run, but they can never hang on and never stay close.
And that's been the problem all season. You talked about the previous games where they've done that, and it's really all about attitude. They have to have the attitude where they can win a game in the end. Of course, it's still only in the first half, but as we'll see, they just couldn't hold on at the end of the game, and it's just a small hump they have to get over, but somehow they have to find a way to win these close games.
Just like at Missouri, it slipped away. So let's go out to Norman, take a look at the second half, see how Colorado fared against Oklahoma. Going into the second half, Billy Tubbs says, "Hey, ref, I'm happy to be here." To start for CU, Edmonds misses the free throw, but Ted Allen comes up with the rebound. On the play, Golgart gets nothing but air, but Fred Edmonds is there for the putback, and of course, you and I know that was a pass from Golgart. Here, the whistle blows, and everybody stops, but what the hey, I'll take the three-pointer anyway. Billy Tubbs says, "Count it." And not this time, Mr. Tubbs, but count it this time as Jeff Webster hits the fadeaway and is fouled. The score was 50-38. Then Curry from long range. Nothing but the bottom of the net. And wait, what's this? Calvin Curry for three again makes it 58-44 Oklahoma. Nice passing by Colorado as Allen decides to get it to Greg Jensen, and I'm way ahead of my highlights, but there's Curry hitting the three. Now we're going to go to nice passing by Colorado as Allen gets it to Greg Jensen, but then Maiden decides to do a little house cleaning. And then Fred Edmonds gets a weak side rebound and puts it back. That cut the Sooner lead to 10. Then Donnie Boyce will get a nice steal and go in for the easy two. All of a sudden, Colorado is within 8. Jeff Webster responds with another nice turnaround jumper. But Ted Allen responds to that by saying, "Hey, I can put the touch on it too." Colorado stays within striking distance. Then Ted Allen would foul out on this offensive charge. I don't think Ted Allen is very happy. Things would start to unravel for Colorado as Calvin Curry decides to take matters into his own hands. Colorado reverted to lousy passing once again, and Oklahoma begins to run away with this one. Dean would try to keep the Buffs in it as he hit from outside, but then Colorado couldn't hit close-in shots as Edmonds misses, and then it's follow that bouncing orange thing. And Edmonds misses once again. Sooners rebound and run the floor, and they begin to pull away from the Colorado Buffaloes. Then Calvin Curry decides to seal the win from downtown. Hello, that shot came from the second row of the bleachers. The final score, Oklahoma 98, CU 85. Curry would score 31 points for the Sooners. Colorado, as we said, just could not hang on and stay in the ballgame. They never had a chance to make a run.
And another big problem, Rob, is that they could not make free throws in the second half to save their lives. Boyce, absolutely horrendous from the free throw line in the second half. And that cost Colorado in a big way. And, sloppy passing, missed shots, missed opportunities that they just couldn't take advantage of.
And there were a lot of fouls in this game. Ted Allen fouled out with almost 12 minutes left in the second half. And poor free throw shooting killed them.
And second game in a row that Ted Allen has fouled out. And then they need that big presence in there. So, again, close, but not quite.
Okay, switching gears now. Top-ranked Utah and Colorado are going at it in the Western Regionals NCAA Division I Championships. The championships are going on today at Crested Butte. They wrap up this afternoon. CU Sports Magazine's John Griffiths has more on the Colorado skiing Buffaloes.
The CU ski team season is winding down with only the Western Regionals and NCAA Championships remaining. This season has been somewhat of a disappointment in that CU has been unable to take first place in any of its invitationals. Last year's squad took first in every meet except one, but then did poorly in the postseason.
So far, we always took the second place, unfortunately, being pretty close to first place, but due to inconsistencies on the teams, we didn't make so far.
One of the major factors contributing to this year's first place drought has been the collegiate level's designated scoring system. For every meet, the team designates 4 skiers from each squad on a team. Only these skiers can then accumulate points regardless of how well other skiers may do in the competition.
Team, and so far they always prove me wrong. When I picked up 4 guys, the other 4 ski better, and vice versa next day when we flip-flop and try to accommodate the scoring.
Pressure as well as team youth are also likely factors contributing to some of the ski team's inconsistencies.
We have some younger guys who can ski really well on any given day, and then when they start to score, they seem to choke up maybe a little bit or get a little bit more nervous and don't ski as well as they could. So,
while scoring has been a primary concern for the men's alpine team, the women's team has been fairly consistent. Leading the way for the women's alpine squad is CU newcomer Karen Kendall. Kendall skied on the U.S. ski team last year and is very happy with her decision to ski at the collegiate level.
Well, I think racing in college, it's taken a lot of pressure off me. So in some of the races, I'm actually skiing better, but at the same time, the pressure is different. So I think I'm not as consistent, but I'm pretty excited about some of the things that's happening in my skiing because my skiing's flowing better, not being so intense and uptight about it. So I'm enjoying it.
Okay. The experience of new additions Karen Kendall and Tony Stantiner, who has also spent time with the U.S. ski team, will be a key ingredient for Coach Rokas' team's success for the rest of this season as well as in the future. CU is coming off a disappointing second-place finish in last week's New Mexico Invitational, in which they were leading after the first day of competition. In order for Coach Richard Rokas' team to do well in this week's regionals, they're going to have to be consistent. From Eldora Ski Resort, I'm John Griffiths for the CU Sports Magazine.
Speaking of skiing, the United States Olympic skiing team has done some great things in Lillehammer.
I'd say the overall team that we sent over there is doing a great job. Of course, Tommy Moe now has 2 medals in the games, 1 gold, 1 silver. Today, we found out that Dan Jansen won a gold medal in speed skating, his first gold medal in I don't know how many tries, so congratulations to him. We've got another hockey sport coming up after this short break. I should say another Olympic sport, which is hockey, and it's a CU hockey team. We'll take a look at them right after this. Stay with us on the Sports Magazine.
reserve, 44% of our nation's defense just wouldn't be there. So be a hero. Give your employees the freedom to protect ours.
A brand new house. A job he's held for 5 years. A marriage that's lasted 10. Cocaine really is expensive. Look what it almost cost this man. He's getting help at a drug rehabilitation center. They got help from the United Way. All because the United Way got help from you. The United Way. It brings out the best in all of us.
Well, football recruiting season has come and gone, and again, Colorado is expecting another strong freshman class. But as Molly Finkel tells us, there is an unpleasant side to the recruiting process.
CU veterans are going to have a lot more competition come fall. Coach McCartney and his staff have recruited a new class of players for the 1994 football season.
I just say it's an excellent class. Has excellent skill.
There's fierce competition to land the best athletes, but Coach Matt thinks he's got a lot to offer.
It's a great school. It's a great place to go to school. It's a wholesome environment in which to spend your college time. It's not hard for me to be excited about encouraging a kid to come to school there. I don't think they can make a mistake coming here.
Many people dream of playing football in a stadium like this in beautiful Boulder, Colorado. However, the reality is it's never quite so picture perfect, especially if you're a freshman.
First year here, coming from home and, being a top recruit and everything, I had a lot of aspirations of having a stellar freshman season, and it just didn't start off that way.
But what about being a freshman and black on this predominantly white campus? Well, CU employs more black coaches than any other Division I school.
I think Coach McCartney validates the experience of black athletes by having black coaches, in as much as you can't really believe that you can move on to the next level if you never see anybody at that next level. It's like wanting to be a doctor or a lawyer if you're black or Hispanic or a woman, and never seeing a black or Hispanic or a woman who does what you want to do.
Have the coaches done a good job?
Yeah, one thing about Coach Matt, though, that's one thing he looks after. He looks after the black athletes. We have a psychiatrist who talks to us if we have any problems or difficulty to adjust to Boulder life, and I really helped me out my first year here. I had a lot of challenge to overcome, a lot of adversity to overcome when I first got here, but now, I love it now.
Molly Finkel, News Team Boulder.
And some interesting topics that Molly brought up there, but if we focus just on the recruiting aspect of it, CU needed to fill some skill positions coming up. Of course, Lamont Warren gone to the NFL, Charles Johnson also gone. How do you think they did?
Well, I think they did very well. They brought in a lot of speed. They did some great things, bringing in a lot of kids from Detroit that have some real good, real fast times in the 40. And I think that Colorado is going to do very well with this recruiting class. And Colorado, just to touch on it briefly, is in the top 5 in some of the already released preseason polls. So Colorado is doing very well so far on the national scene. In still more football news, a television contract with ABC Sports should be finalized shortly. The contract would involve a mix of the Big 8, the Southwest Conference, and one team from the Western Athletic Conference. That one team from the WAC would be BYU. The contract will be worth a reported $60 million. Throw in a deal with ESPN as well, and the contract jumps to $80 million. The question now involves what to do with the SWC. One of the problems that the SWC faces is that it receives little national media attention, something Tanya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan know nothing about. What will happen with the SWC? Will they simply merge with the Big 8, or will only certain teams defect from the SWC to the Big 8? No one is sure, but this contract is scheduled to take place in 1996, and by that time, a final decision on the SWC will be made. Andrew?
First of all, I think we need to get Tanya Harding on this show as soon as possible.
I agree.
Okay. Club hockey team is in full effect, and Chad Walks made it out to the CU Rec Center. He brings us this story.
Despite a winning record and a really good time on a Friday or Saturday night, the CU men's hockey team has gone largely overlooked by many CU students. Names like Willie Mitchell, Ryan Spencer, and Scott Bennett are not as household as Bill McCartney, Shelley Sheets, or Ted Allen, but they put on a terrific show anyways. Until recently, Willie Mitchell has been a goalie for the Buffs. This year, however, is his first season as head coach. I asked him how the year has gone.
Well, it's been pretty up and down, but signs of a young team will do that for you. Overall, I think that the players have learned a lot, and they've come a long way, but success-wise, we're about a 500 ball club right now, and I think if I had the team for another month or so, we'd get even better.
How did the players treat you as a coach, especially towards the beginning of the season when you were a younger coach, a lot closer to their age, a lot closer to them as most coaches have been?
Yeah, well, that was tough. But I think it was important for me the first day of tryouts, the first day of dryland training, you had to set an example. And there are some guys that, I wouldn't mind hanging out with, but it's just kind of a different face. Away from the arena, we're friends and all, but when it comes to game time, I'm their coach. And if I have to be a jerk about things, not a jerk, but, take a harder stance against some things, I'll do that.
If you like to watch